Welcome to a new fantasy adventure on Dreamscape. In this exciting story, we accompany the ranger Daeron and his companions on a perilous journey through a dark forest full of surprises. They must survive many trials to reach their destination. The biggest gesture you can give me is a like. If you like my stories, feel free to leave a subscription and activate the bell so you don't miss any more stories. Well then, let's dive into the story. Daeron's journey through the dark forest. The night lay gloomily over the forests of Valerian. An icy wind howled through the treetops and tore at the cloaks of the three travelers who sought their way through the dark forest. They were led by the ranger Daeron, a weather-beaten man with watchful eyes. At his side rode the twins Elena and Castor, a young mage and a traveling singer. Only Daeron knew the path through this dangerous forest. They had been riding all day, but now it had become too dark to continue.
"We should rest,"
Daeron said prudently.
"These trees will provide shelter. Tomorrow we go on."
Wordlessly, the twins dismounted their horses and began to make camp. Each was lost in thought. They knew dangers lurked for them in this gloomy wilderness. But there was no turning back. Daeron lit a fire and warmed a pot of soup over it. Silently they ate their meager meal. Only now and then something rustled in the undergrowth or howled the wind. The eyes of the three often rested on the shadows between the trees. Suddenly they were startled when a blood-curdling roar sounded nearby. Elena let out a silent scream and Castor also flinched. Only Daeron remained outwardly calm.
"What was that?"
whispered Elena, her eyes wide. Daeron laid down wood and said only,
"A nightshade. A dangerous beast, but he'll leave us alone if we don't tease him."
Reassured, the twins lay down to sleep. But in the middle of the night Daeron was abruptly awakened. Something was wrong. It was much too quiet in the forest. Nowhere did he hear a rustling or the howling of the wind. Only deep, unnatural silence all around. Quietly, the ranger woke the others.
"Be alert, I sense a darkness approaching."
No sooner had he spoken it than they heard it, heavy footsteps, cracking branches, a gasp in the darkness. It was coming closer. Feverishly, the three gathered their weapons as two glowing eyes appeared between the trees. With a blood-curdling roar, the night shadow burst from the thicket and charged toward them. Daeron deftly dodged the attack and struck the beast in the flank with a sword stroke. Black blood spurted, but the beast did not let up. Now Elena and Castor also attacked, using fire and magic. The battle was fierce, but together they finally succeeded in bringing down the monster. Panting, they stood around the lifeless body, then Daeron sank to the ground, exhausted. They had won. The next morning they continued on their way, now even more alert. But Daeron knew that this was only the first test of their journey. More dangers lurked in this ominous wilderness that held their destination. But he would protect them. After many more arduous days through the dark forest, they finally reached the inner circle of trees. Here should rest the tomb of the ancients, where a powerful crystal was kept, which they were looking for. But suddenly the way was blocked by huge spiders hanging from the trees. Their poisonous spines twitched as they went on the attack. Daeron, Elena, and Castor drew their blades. Fiercely they fought the insects, using fire and sword. Legs and spines flew everywhere, while the spiders clicked furiously. Finally, they succeeded in striking down the last one. Exhausted, they rested. But their ordeal was not yet over. As they approached the center, bony guards came to life, protecting the tomb. With bare swords, they confronted the intruders. A fierce battle broke out, but the skeletons shattered under Daeron's mighty blows. The gate of the tomb opened with a creak. In awe, the companions entered to meet their fate. In the gloomy tomb chamber, they found a shining crystal on a pedestal, glowing softly in the darkness. But as Elena reached out for it, the shadow on the wall suddenly reared up. Two glowing eyes stared at her and a sepulchral voice boomed.
Who dares disturb the rest of the dead?
Elena backed away. Daeron stepped forward boldly.
We have come to recover the light.
The shadow just laughed.
No one leaves this place with the crystal. It is mine.
But Daeron was not deterred. With sword raised, he confronted the dark presence. A fierce battle broke out between light and shadow. Daeron was almost overwhelmed by the darkness. But together with Elena, he finally succeeded in defeating the Dark Guardian. Triumphantly, Elena took the crystal. Its light dispelled the shadows of the tomb. They had achieved their goal, even if the price had been high. Now they could return to the valley. So the companions left the tomb and stepped out into the rising sun's light. Once again Daeron looked back. Shuddering, he thought of the horrors of the darkness they had overcome. Then he turned away towards the morning.